Welcome, everybody, to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G, here with Drew and Thomas from Sugarfield Spirits. We're going to be drinking some good brews, some good Louisianan brews, and sampling them and tasting them and talking about the story.
Awesome.
So, for those that aren't aware what Sugarfield is, what is Sugarfield?
So, Sugarfield Spirits is a craft distillery in Gonzales, Louisiana. We currently are making spirits from mostly Louisiana products. As much as we can, we're sourcing locally. We make a vodka made from cane sugar from Belrose.
Okay.
Our white rum is made from molasses and sugar from Belrose. We have an orange liqueur. The oranges came from Napoleonville.
Okay.
We have a coffee liqueur. The coffees are white rum blended with cold brewed coffee from Rev Coffee Roasters in Lafayette.
Shout out to Rev Coffee.
Hey,
Rev Coffee.
Awesome.
We might be dabbling in some Rev Coffee liqueur
Yeah.
later this show.
We just released a peach liqueur.
Okay.
Our peaches came from Waterproof, which is the most ostentatious name for a city in Louisiana, since it's right on the river.
Yeah.
Waterproof, right on the river. We'll see how they fare on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or when this is live, we'll see.
I think we did a strawberry liqueur back in the spring. Strawberries were from Springfield.
Okay. Right by the Ponchatoula area, where the Strawberry Festival is so famous.
Yep, we wanted to go so bad this year.
Didn't happen.
We'll be there next year.
Yeah, but you brought it to you.
Yeah.
You brought the strawberries to you
Right.
Yeah.
and made something with it.
Yeah, and that was a big hit. We sold out of that pretty quick. The cocktails made with that are just, they're out of this world. They're so good.
Yeah.
So what do you make with that as a cocktail?
So I know everybody here has heard of a strawberry daiquiri. We're not talking
Yeah.
about the
Not the frozen daiquiri you get at the
frozen
daiquiri
daiquiris,
shop,
yeah.
for the drive-through daiquiris we have here.
but like a proper daiquiri, which is just lime juice, simple syrup, and rum. You combine them together, and they make a beautiful cocktail. And it's such a classic cocktail. It's the basis for a lot of the other cocktails that we make here, and that are, made in other bars.
Mm-hmm.
Like your simple whiskey sours, that all came from the sours, the daiquiri, and
Okay, I did not know
stuff.
that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Sugarfield Spirits, the distillery here. Y'all make all these local brews, or these local craft distills. How did y'all get started with this? Like what, how, why, what's y'all's background? Are y'all in distilling? I know you're not, but how did we get here? How did
So,
Sugarfield get created?
Drew and I were drinking one night and thought, hey, let's do this. And we woke up the next morning and it was still kind of a good idea. So that's really kind of the genesis of this.
Yep.
But, I think I've been thinking about it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really think about it, but doctors mostly have chemistry degrees or biology degrees.
Right, so what's your background?
So I went to Georgia Tech with and started off as a chemical engineer.
Okay.
And finished up as a microbiology major. So that's kind of the perfect training to be a distiller.
All right.
And then, so our mom still can't really believe that the two of us went into business with each other because we're very different brothers.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah.
I see that,
Drew has a master's degree in hotel and restaurant management.
Yeah.
And I have an undergraduate in microbiology and so I'm kind of I like the chemistry side of it. I like the making things work, and Drew likes the hospitality side of it. Drew loves the making cocktails. We always laugh about when I bring a spirit out, Drew starts with where is this going to work in a cocktail? And I try to deconstruct the spirit. I'm like, these are the flavors I get. And that really kind of plays well with each other. Drew does a good job of taking my kind of raw knowledge, breaking down the spirit and changing it into a way to how do you work with the spirit in a craft cocktail sort of idea.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I got the balance there. You're like, how do we create the base layer for then to be transposed into something that people will drink, whether it's straight or in a little mixed drink?
Yeah.
Right. And another great thing is everything has to pass through me and Thomas and our head distiller Dean. We kind of all have very different palates, and it's pretty unique. But so far we haven't had anything. Well, first off, we're making awesome spirits. That helps.
Naturally.
When you're putting awesome stuff in bottles, it's easy to get thumbs up from people with different palates. But for me, what it really comes down to is, certain spirits have to work in certain cocktails. Because if you have, say you have a vodka that doesn't make a good martini, that's not a good vodka. You gotta have a vodka that works in several different drinks. Because people that drink vodka, they drink a drink. Like they drink martinis, or they drink vodka tonics, or they drink vodka sodas, and if it doesn't work in that one cocktail, that's going to be their experience with our spirit. So we have to make sure that it's broad enough that it works in all the different cocktails, but still delicious and balanced and.
Yeah, you have to make it, because for something like a vodka or something like that, or even just a rum, people are familiar with it enough that they have this expectation of what it should taste like. And if it doesn't meet that expectation, or isn't so different enough that's like, oh, this is so unique,
right,
then they kind of just like, well, I didn't really taste it that well. It wasn't really my go-to. Let me just go ahead and switch it over and get something else.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think that's like our vodka. So our vodka is made from local products. So it's made from cane sugar, which is a different. Most vodkas out there aren't made from cane sugar.
What are they made from?
So, Tito's is made from corn, for example. Let's see.
Goose is made from
wheat.
Wheat. Yeah.
Absolute's made from red wheat. Chopin is made from potatoes.
Potatoes, yeah.
Okay. So, there's a lot of different ways you can make vodka, but at the end of the day, you need to make a relatively odorless, flavorless spirit that mixes well. So that's kind of the definition from the federal government, the definition for kind of out there on what makes a good vodka. And I think ours meets that bar or exceeds that bar, but it's still doing it with being made from a local product.
Right.
So that's kind of that was our goal with our vodka, was to make something that mixed super well, and came out, was unique, but not unique enough that it missed the being able to mix well.
Gotcha. So how did you determine you could make it with raw cane sugar?
There's I've had some before that were made from raw cane sugar.
Okay.
And again, it has to be clean. It has to come off the still at over 190 proof. That's the federal government definition of a vodka.
Okay.
And so it has to be super clean. It has to be super smooth.
Plus, the reason we did sugar is it's because it's what we have available here.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of sugar available.
So Grey Goose has a lot of wheat available.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tito's, they have a lot of corn available. Like that's like you take whatever you have. Like the distilleries in Russia, they make it from potatoes. They don't make it from potatoes because they want to make it from potatoes. They make it from potatoes because that's the only thing they have around that they have left over.
Yeah, I guess that's like in my head, it's like, okay, you've got so vastly different beginning ingredients. How do you end up at the same quote unquote product?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, so spirits were really like historically were a way to preserve your agricultural products beyond their shelf life. And it also made it easier to transport. Bourbon, for example, whiskey was made from corn, which was a big product in the Appalachia, and you could travel. Probably a barrel of corn probably has 1,000 pounds of corn in it.
Jesus.
Oh, sorry, a barrel of bourbon has about 1,000 pounds of corn in it.
Gotcha.
So it was a way to transport your product at a smaller weight, easier volume, but it was also a way to preserve it. Where it didn't rot on the way to market. So a lot of liqueurs were that way. It was a way to kind of preserve your strawberries, like our strawberry liqueur, beyond strawberry season. Strawberry, especially pre-refrigeration, you picked it and the next day it wasn't good.
So you would like store the strawberries or store the corn in the actual spirit.
Yeah, so you would make the spirit out of it immediately,
Right.
And then it was a way to kind of preserve it. It was a way to, I think the in Europe, for example, like the liqueurs, I think a big part of it was the people, during cherry season they would make a cherry liqueur, and then in the middle of the dark, damp winter, you could drink that and remember what it was like for the summer. It was it was like a memory. And I think spirits are so cool the way they bring out memories.
Yes.
And I think that was a lot of the genesis of how liqueurs and other spirits, kind of made you remember summer in the middle of the winter.
Yeah, because my family's got a kumquat brandy recipe where we'll start with regular brandy and homegrown kumquats, and we'll poke the kumquats, put toothpicks in there, and then do your sugar and you mix it, and then you store it for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, just in a dark closet, and then you bring it out and you eat one of those kumquats, and you be ready for bed after that.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, kumquats are only available a month or two out of the year, and being able to bring something like that out in July. It's not kumquat season,
right?
But it kind of reminds you what it was like, and around the holidays, and it evokes all these cool memories,
right?
So that's one of the reasons I love doing liqueurs in season, is to kind of evoke those memories from that season later on in the year.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep, and that's another thing we want to kind of bring up. Each year, our liqueurs are going to be a little different, and we believe in consistency in some of our products, and other products we don't even try for consistency. Like next year, strawberries are going to taste different than this year's strawberries. So our liqueur is going to taste a little different too. And I guarantee you it's going to be delicious, but it's going to be 2021's strawberry liqueur.
Right.
And like the peach liqueur that we did this year, man, it turned out awesome. And like we've been just playing around with it. We released it this past weekend, and I've been playing around with it all week with cocktails, just making different stuff, and it just shines in everything you put it in. It's really bold, and it just comes out with just a big punch of peaches.
Yeah.
Now next year it's going to be a little different.
Right, and I think that's the cool thing about using locally sourced food, and each year it's going to be different. You have a little bit of variation.
Right.
So if you're looking at it from a collector standpoint, it's like, oh, what was the best year of the peaches? What was the best year of the strawberries? And if they have that bottle, well, yeah, it's going to gain value over time. But it's the flavoring can be different, and it's, I wonder what 2021 is going to taste like. You almost kind of build that anticipation of that first bottle pour is, what is it going to taste like this year?
And it's so interesting because, like, in spirits, you don't really ever think about that. Yeah. But in wine, you think about that immediately.
Do you have a 2016, Sauvignon Blanc or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
From this specific pasture.
Right. And the French always celebrate that. The French have this phrase called terroir, which I think literally means like the earth. But, their idea is that, this bottle of wine encapsulates everything that was 2016 or 2017. It was the fact that it hailed in May. There was a late frost. It was hot in July, and it involves the winemaker's skill, the equipment that he made it on, the ground that it was grown on, and all those things go into that bottle. And the French are like, and winemakers in general are always so excited. They're like, this one is different than last year. It's, we love this one because of these flavors. And spirit manufacturers never do that. They're always like, we love Maker's Mark. Right. And I love Maker's Mark. It's a great bourbon, but it's always consistent. Mm-hmm. I think we've done a really nice job of, our vodka is very consistent. Our rum's very consistent. Our coffee liqueur is very consistent.
Are you going through our different spirits to figure out which ones
consistently? I can see the wheels.
Maybe our corn is consistent.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think everything else is gonna be. We're gonna love the inconsistencies of it. Mm-hmm. We're gonna love the fact that the strawberries, it's similar. It's gonna mix similarly. It's gonna be delicious, like Drew said.
Right.
But it's gonna be a little different because the strawberries grew in a different year. And I'd love to. I hope that every year it's better. I think as we've gone through our batches of bourbon, we're on batch 5 right now. I think Drew and I have gotten experience.
Right.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I think ours is
Amen to
this
that.
is the best one we've done so far.
Okay.
But I love the individuality of each of the batches. I think we'll do batches of bourbon for as long as we're doing bourbon.
Okay, so individual batches pertaining to that specific year,
Yeah.
and not just a continuous roll of bourbon.
Yeah, we'll never have a specific bourbon that's going to be Sugarfield Spirits. This is the bourbon that's, this is it, and it's going to be like Jim Beam. Jim Beam has their one specific bourbon, and this year it's going to taste the same as it did last year, the year before, and every year it's the same. And the way they do that, I think that's amazing. I think it's I think that might even be harder than consistently making just good bourbon. I mean, making a specific taste and texture and mouthfeel to that involves a lot of real technique. And I think maybe one day we may do something like that, but not for years and years. And the way they do that, a big way they do that, is they're using 100 barrels instead of our last 1,000 barrels. Our last batch 5 is 7 barrels.
So
Okay.
So you get a lot more flavors and a lot more and we picked
get a lot more
specifically-
individuality. Yeah.
We specifically picked these barrels for this blend. We don't do anything here on accident. Like everything that's done, we meticulously go through it. And that's one thing that Thomas and I have talked about. We talk about terroir, we talk about everything, but when it comes to bourbon, we're looking to perfect our bourbon skills. And our bourbon is aging right now. We're going to have a Louisiana bourbon out here as soon as we can.
We're an all Louisiana bourbon.
And all
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I was about to say, because
yeah.
the bourbons you've got now are blends of
Right,
other
right.
bourbons from across the area, but y'all
Yeah.
have a pure Louisiana bourbon set in how many years, you think?
3.
3 or 4.
3 or 4 years? Okay.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think we'll ever. We have some stuff that's probably about 6 to 8 months old right now. That was made completely here. But we're also we're buying young barrels and aging them here, and things that age here are going to age differently than things that age in Kentucky.
Or
Is that
anywhere.
Yeah.
pretty
Or
much.
anywhere.
This is such a
yeah.
unique climate. Yeah.
We're at sea level or
Right.
sometimes below sea level.
Yeah, and the humidity here is obviously for 8 months out of the year is a lot.
Yeah. Well, some would
and
say.
and
Yeah,
humidity.
Some say 13 months out of the
Yeah,
year.
well, humidity does a big thing with how water comes out of the barrel. Alcohol is probably a fairly consistent pull out of the barrel from evaporation, but we're not going to have very much evaporation of water here.
If anything, you'll have like an intake of water, if that's possible.
I don't know if it'll go into the barrel, but it's certainly not going to come out at the same rate that it would in a drier climate like Kentucky.
Okay.
Kentucky has big seasonal variation. We have seasonal variation between really hot and kind of hot.
We have a summer and a hint of a fall.
Right.
Yeah.
Then second
mean-
summer, then yeah.
I mean, we have summer when you can't go outside, and then the rest of the year that's beautiful. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, except for the hurricanes.
Well, yeah, except for the hurricanes. We wouldn't think it would be in October and still thinking about hurricanes and actually experiencing one in a couple days.
Yes.
Right.
It's not what you expect. But on the business side of things, you don't just walk into this building and have a distillery in the back. How did all this come about?
First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to the LSU Business Incubator.
Okay.
They really helped a lot. That was one of the first calls I made, and they helped me put together most of my business plan. They helped me helped me with contacts. So Charlie DiAgostino and Matthew Wiggins at the Business Incubator did a jam up job of helping kind of starting this. That started in about 2017. I first met with them.
Okay.
We ended up building this building ourselves.
Okay, so this wasn't a purchase and remodel.
No, this was a built building from the ground up,
Nobody wanted to give us a building and let us tear floor drains out and do all that.
Nobody wanted to lease us a building and let us make the modifications that we really wanted to make. So it was I've never built anything in my life, so that was an interesting experience.
I bet.
And but we were able to make this building our own, which was cool.
Yeah.
And we built the building. It's very functional for what we need, and we're very proud of it.
Yeah. So were you able to source the equipment in Louisiana? Or did you have to look outside of Louisiana? Because I don't think Louisiana is a big producer of said equipment.
There was not a producer of distilling equipment in Louisiana. I've since found a producer of brewing equipment in Louisiana.
Oh yeah, we've got a handful of breweries across the state.
Yeah, there's a producer of brewing equipment in New Orleans now.
Okay.
But I bought our equipment from a guy in Missouri, and we we have great equipment. We're very the equipment's done very, very well for us.
Yeah, and then with your background, you're able to go through it and really kind of meticulously craft the ingredients, like you said.
Between Dean and
recipes,
I, we both have.
Yeah, and my brother's he's being humble. He's a real nice. I'm going to go ahead and brag a little bit. We do have two different stills. So we have a 125-gallon still and a 625-gallon still, and that Thomas, right? That makes us the third.
Probably around the third or fourth
largest distillery in the state. So
okay.
And not that it's a competition, because certainly it's not. We're in the guild with we're in the Distillers Guild. In fact, Thomas sits on the board in the Distillers Guild, and we want to see everybody. We want to see everybody drinking everything Louisiana. If everybody does that, this Distillers Guild is gonna blow up like the Brewers Guild did. Because when I drink beer, I don't drink beer that's not from this state. Same with spirits now that I have a distillery. I think it's very important to support your local community, support your local businesses, and that's what we do. We try to partner with as many local businesses as we can. I don't want to get ahead of myself and throw out names of people that we're working with, but we've got a bunch of little collaborations that we're doing. I mean, we do team up with Rev Coffee on our coffee liqueur. We've got some more good collaborations going with some different stuff like that coming up. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I like it. So on the marketing side, how do you market a local distilled spirit?
Well, I guess that's a question for me, huh? Yeah. So,
well, how do you do it in 2019, and how do you do it in the middle of coronavirus?
What's the comparison between 2019?
So, let's start with our marketing plan.
Let's do that.
So the marketing plan was what we were going to do is we really are going to focus on our backyard, Louisiana, specifically Baton Rouge, Gonzales, our background, our backyards, literally, and we want to be in every behind every bar. We want to be in every restaurant that we can, and
yeah, that was our complete marketing plan, was restaurants and bars.
And then
we went into distribution March 1st.
Right.
And
of 2020?
Of 2020.
Yeah, we started this
so
year.
that plan didn't work the way we wanted it to.
But being a small, I mean, we are super small. Like we're able to change and
we pivoted completely.
And so instead of that, we went to off-premise and we went to retail and just kind of pounded the pavement when we could. I mean, there was a whole month where
three
where we kind of just sat staring at each other, saying, "Boy, this is not ideal." Well, we never actually stared at each other. We pivoted. We did hand sanitizer for a while because that was a big ticket item back in March, where all the hand sanitizer went off the shelves.
Yeah.
And
any cleaning product, any hand sanitization product, any mask or anything like that was gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
Well, and we decided, I think there was a couple different ways you could do hand sanitizer. We decided that the best way for us personally was to give it away.
Okay.
We never really thought that trying to make money off of it. It just it didn't feel right to me as a doctor. And I don't know if that was the right idea.
We had a big conversation about this, and we were both coming from the right place. There was never a time where we said, "Boy, this is a great money making opportunity," because that's not what we were about. That's not what we're about at all.
Yeah, you're not a hand sanitizing company.
Right. Yeah.
Number one, that we want to make alcohol for people to enjoy and have great experiences with. But at the same time, the White House literally went to one of the
big advocacy groups.
Big advocacy groups that we work with, and said, hey, anything you guys can do to help with this catastrophe would be appreciated. And we got a recipe for the hand sanitizer, and the response from the community was astounding, and it was really great, and we got to meet a lot of people, and I mean, there were days where we had cars backed all the way up the street, and we still socially distanced and everything. And this was at the very beginning of that, where nobody knew how to do it at first, and we had to kind of help people realize, hey, you gotta stay in your car until I call you. I'll call you, I promise. And we gave out as much as we could.
So how do you pivot from making spirits to making hand sanitizer? I mean, for people that may know the behind the scenes work, it may be common knowledge. Oh, it's easy to do, but how is it done to as a lay person explaining it to them? What is the change in process?
So I mean, basically, we just took our vodka.
Okay.
Vodka that comes off of the still at 190 plus proof, and the World Health Organization and the TTB, which is the alcohol part, and the FDA had put together some guidelines for it, and we went directly with those guidelines. We used it for we used the recipe that the World Health Organization had put forth. When we first started doing it, we tried to do some thickening agents, and the federal government and the FDA just said, don't do that. Let's make a super liquidy, but it's going to do the job. It had to be over, I don't even remember it had to be over 65% alcohol, over 100 and what is that?
130 proof.
130 proof. So I think ours was I think the World Health Organization recipe ended up being about 160 proof.
Yeah, ours was over 100, a little over 160 proof. So it was. It definitely fell in the guidelines. It really helps whenever you're doing stuff like this to have somebody with my brother's experience and
that chemistry knowledge.
Yeah, he just looks at this stuff and he's like, "Oh, this is easy, Drew. Let me show you how to do it." And he shows me how to do it one time, and I'm like, "Oh, I could do this. This is a piece of cake." And that's very helpful. And then on top of that, the only reason we stopped doing hand sanitizer was the FDA started introducing new guidelines almost daily at one point.
Yeah, there was a point in time, and it was like, okay, well, if you didn't read the news this morning,
right,
and the regulations this morning, your product you made last night was, should be expired.
Right. And but I also think that the need had passed.
Yeah, the need. Yeah.
Exxon had pivoted to making one of their lines to just make.
They got
isopropyl alcohol.
Yeah.
And they can make more isopropyl alcohol in a day than I can probably make in a year.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We
I don't make isopropyl.
Yeah.
I make ethanol. But same idea. I mean, and I think a lot of the bigger companies that had much more capacity stepped up as they're a big ship. They don't turn quickly. We pivoted really quickly to it. I think we were the first distillery in the state to have it out.
Yeah, I think we were.
And we were one of the first. I mean, Drew even did some stuff with some national news on it, because we pivoted really quickly. Because I saw the need. Like hospitals were running out of hand sanitizer. You don't really. I mean, everybody out in the general population uses hand sanitizer now, but hospitals use tons of hand sanitizer. And every time you walk into the room, you do it. Every time you walk out of the room, you do it. And if you see 50 babies a day, like I do,
that's a lot.
I mean, it's a lot.
It's 100 times just right there.
Right. And so it was some of the hospitals in the state were actually running out
Oh, wow.
So that was when we started seeing that need. That's when we pivoted to it.
And of course, we did help the first responders first. We went in and helped some of the local hospitals. We helped fire departments, sheriff's departments, police departments.
State ATC.
Yep. When they came and asked, we were like,
yeah, the governing body for us, like we gave them a.
All right, we'll give you some. We'll give you some. The license is good, right?
Right. Yeah. We gave.
I helped some school teachers out, daycares, just anybody that we did.
Yeah.
And I had regulars here coming to get it every day, and they were like, I mean, how much can I get every day? And I gave them the maximum amount, and
we almost had to ration it for the general population because we just weren't producing all that. I mean, people. 99% of people accepted it, and we're very grateful for everything. And,
Absolutely.
And this whole pandemic has really, it in a way, it's kind of restored my faith in people. That 99+% of people in this country are good people.
Yeah.
And understood completely. When we told them, you get. What was it? 6 ounces or 8 ounces?
It was 8 ounces.
Yeah.
8 ounces, per day.
Was how we rationed it, and 8 ounces is a good bit of hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that should last you at least for
a week or two.
Oh yeah, a week or two.
So
I mean, if you're not a doctor, if you're using it every now and again, when you go to the grocery store once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Of course, we made exceptions here and there. Like I had some people come in that had like severe disease, like immune diseases, and I was like, why don't we go ahead and let you
give you some,
give you some as much as you need to last you a while. And,
a couple of people from Domino's Pizza. Like you don't really think about it, but like the
delivery
pizza
drivers,
drivers,
first responders.
Those people have really. Those people, grocery store workers, they're the kind of the forgotten heroes in all this. That how much hard work they did. Like, they kept our country kind of going for a while.
Yeah, I mean, when you shut down restaurants and you shut down bars, you shut down distilleries, you shut down breweries, and people have to resort to cooking at home, they're going to cook at home. People are going to eat. If you have the resources, you're going to eat in this country. You're not going to just sit around and go, oh, well, I guess we'll just skip dinner tonight. We can't get to a restaurant. It's no, all right, let's go to the grocery store. Let's go ahead and let's buy what we need, and we'll cook for the week. And so grocery stores were just flooded, and just masses of people were in there because that's all they had. That's all the options that we have.
And then
during those
delivery
times.
People too.
Yeah, and then delivery people. You had
it's just crazy.
It's crazy to see which avenues of the economy remained open and even boomed during this COVID craziness.
Yeah. I do always find that so interesting too, the way different industries kind of work. Like there's busy times for Thomas was telling me how for babies people having babies, they have them. When is that?
There's like a seasonal variation to deliveries.
And for
makes sense.
So for pizza delivery people, I think it's so interesting to talk to them, and they have little inconsistencies like that too, and little they have busy times and not busy times, and I got to know a couple of them. They were really fun, and
it was
anyway.
Yeah,
it's kind of
you learn different people that you wouldn't have spoken to had COVID probably not happened.
Yeah, for sure.
This has been. It's been a horrible experience.
Right.
Every aspect of it.
Yeah, it's a Monday night, and we're able to host a podcast.
Right.
In the tap room.
Right.
Or what is it called? A tap room? What's the technical term?
So we're a tasting room here.
Tasting room.
Yeah. So luckily,
you.
and we actually do have some taps. So we have a couple of tapped vodka sodas, and they're similar to what you think a seltzer would be.
Okay.
So it's
way better.
Yeah, way better. Yeah, it's naturally flavored.
Not to dog anybody's, but yeah.
So should we try some?
Do you want to try some?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Yeah, let me go.
Do you
grab
like oranges or berries?
Berries.
We'll do berries. All right.
Let's do a berry. That'd be
cool.
great.
Yeah, I'll be right.
All right. So while he's grabbing that,
Uh-huh.
you've got the chemical background, you've got the doctor background, you've got all this background to craft all of this stuff. Is it really as complex as I think it is, or is it really simple?
It's
a valid question.
So complex.
Nobody can do it.
Nobody else in the world can do it. Like, if you think about the basics of distilling, people have been doing it for probably over 1,000 years.
So let's take a step further back.
Yeah.
Then, what are the basic steps of distilling?
So basically, you take a mixture. You take beer or you take a wine, and you boil it.
Okay.
And alcohol has a lower boiling point than water. Alcohol boils in the 170s. Water boils at 212. A mixture of the two boils somewhere in between. And so basically you're just separating out it's the same thing they do in a petroleum plant. You're separating out different compounds out of the alcohol by the boiling temperatures. There's some things that come off of the still kind of early on that aren't so good to drink. So things like acetone. That's fingernail polish remover. If you like, that's not great to drink.
No. So do you have your own line of fingernail polish remover?
I don't, but my wife has a ready supply of fingernail polish remover. So that stuff kind of comes off of the still first. And then you collect the middle part, which is the good alcohol, and then you have other compounds that come off at the end.
Okay.
And those sort of things, they're probably not poisonous. They don't taste real good though.
Makes sense. Is there an alternative use for them?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm fixing to feed some probably tomorrow to some deer.
That's an alternative source.
The leftover stuff I'm gonna dump on my farm and
let the deer enjoy.
Let the deer enjoy it.
Yeah, so a lot of farmers use the stuff that we do when we do our whiskeys. So we did some corn mashes, and we did a couple of malt mashes, and we just donated those to. They came and picked them up, fed them to. Cows can eat that, horses can eat that, deer can eat that.
So what is the impact on the meat after eating distilled mashes?
I don't know. I'll tell you next year. It just, our leftover rum, for example, the stuff that's left in the pot after it doesn't have any sugar in it, but it has a lot of the flavors and smells of molasses. It's not nearly as thick as molasses, but it has a lot of salts in it, a lot of protein still. If you walk into any like hunting supply store, they actually have molasses sort of blends on the shelf for deer.
Makes sense.
I have a farm in North Mississippi, and I'm going up there tomorrow and
making some deposits.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Thomas has a day off, so he's gonna go work on the farm tomorrow.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So what are we drinking here, Drew?
All right. So this is a
it's
vodka
good,
soda,
whatever it is.
And we added some berry extract to it. It's just a natural berry concentrate that we get, and it's real nice, isn't it? Like that.
It's nice.
It's made with our vodka, and then it's lightly carbonated. It's
7% alcohol, so like it sneaks up on you.
I can see how it would
fast,
sneak up. It's very drinkable. It's not too carbonated where it's just like popping in the back of your mouth.
Right.
But at the same time, it's got that berry flavoring to it that it's this is a sipping and refreshing.
Yeah, nice and refreshing summer day kind of drink.
Opposite of what we've got here in October, right?
Yeah. Well, this still. It was kind of a summer day today.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's the skies are bluer during October. It's still just as hot.
Yeah.
But it's like the skies are just prettier for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Until Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to what's going to happen on Wednesday. In all honesty.
Boy, yeah, me too.
But enough of that. So what else do y'all make outside of? So we got the peach liqueur, which was very delicious. It had the peach was very strong on that. Like I drank. I'm like, am I eating a peach right now? Like it was.
Yeah, it's like
that's
biting
the
into a
flavoring.
peach.
Yeah.
So did you try any of our strawberry liqueur?
I never tried the strawberry liqueur.
Next year, look for that. It's like biting into a strawberry. I grabbed two other bottles. I grabbed a bottle of our coffee and our bottle of our loquat liqueur. Are you familiar with a loquat?
I'm not. I'm reading on here. It says Japanese plum. I'm assuming
Correct.
that's
So
what
a
a
loquat is
is.
just another name for a Japanese plum.
Okay.
It's
They grow all over the place here.
yeah.
Really?
I think a lot of people have them in their yards and don't. If they know what they are, they don't like them because they fall in their cars. It's this little yellow fruit that has a gigantic seed in it.
Wait. Okay.
Big.
I think I know what you're talking about
So it has
now.
it has a big, broad green leaf, and they fall in your car in like April.
Yep.
And they make
Sounds
up,
familiar.
like squirrels love them because they love the seeds. And then
Just like my cypress trees,
Yeah.
the squirrels love the little cypress balls.
Which is terrible.
so so our distiller Dean,
It's very
he-
different.
He made a liqueur out of it a couple of years ago, and brought me a sample from what he made at his house, and I was like, game on. So.
So me and Mitch, shout out to Mitch, and Be Sober. We
and
Jennifer
Mitchell,
Mitchell,
Yeah.
also in Be Sober. She hooked us up with some loquats, and we macerated them in our white rum. And
lightly sweetened it, and
yeah,
it's delicious.
to me, this is just the perfect sipper at the end of the day. I mean, after
That is good.
dinner, man. Yeah.
That's
It's like
good.
an aperitif almost.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's sweet. It's smooth. There's like almost no bite to it,
Right.
but it just goes down. It's almost like, is there molasses in there?
Nope.
Well, I mean, I guess there is a little bit.
Well, I
of
guess, yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess.
the rum is made from molasses.
Yeah, it's got 10%.
It's got a little
Okay.
bit of molasses.
Man,
10
you
to
got a
20.
really nice palate there.
I-
You're picking out molasses.
Well,
and,
it wasn't because I was like, is this in cane sugar? I was like,
Right.
because
Yeah.
That's in my coffee every day, right?
Right.
I was like, this is something sweeter, so something thicker, and so that's what hit me was molasses.
So, and
David Steele from Be Sober, you should be impressed with my palate.
yes.
Nice.
Moving on.
The our cane sugar though is kind of like a raw sugar. I mean, it comes straight from the mill,
Yeah.
so it still has molasses in it. And, it's not brown sugar. It's just a raw turbinado sort of sugar. So
Yeah.
I always get a lot of molasses out of our cane sugar.
That makes sense. My mom, she used to make homemade bread, and we would use and cinnamon rolls. So the best thing was her homemade cinnamon rolls out of the ground. She would grind her own wheat. We would use the chicken eggs. We would have the flour, and we'd also go across the river to Alma Plantation in New Roads and buy the raw cane sugar straight from the
right.
plantation over
Awesome.
there. And that is, you can't beat it.
Yeah.
You can't beat the raw cane sugar.
So, I mean, how did you even think to start coming up with something out of a Japanese plum?
Again, Dean, this is the liqueur that Dean made and brought to us.
Well, there's another thing I kind of want to bring up here. We are constantly doing experiments.
Yeah. So how do you experiment on a small scale? Like, is there a certain equipment you use? What's that process?
So,
It's very precise scientific equipment.
I imagine a 5-gallon bucket or something.
no, it's not even
Sometimes
nearly
it's
that
not
large. So, I think a lot of distillers talk about, their experience distilling, hesitate to use the word illegally. How about
Experimentally.
clandestine?
Yeah.
For science.
Right.
For
Yes.
science.
Back in the back holler with their granddad. A lot of people have that kind of story. Our granddad was a family court judge, and he did not have a still in the back. So when I got this idea, probably 8 years ago, when I started really thinking about doing a distillery down the road, I started just buying commercial products, commercial vodkas, commercial brandies, commercial rums, and started macerating things at home.
Okay.
So taking a raw fruit or a raw, it's been vegetables, it's been rhubarb, it's been lots of, I think I'm on experiment about 120 right now. I have a lab book that's hidden.
With all the different
with all the
recipes
different
and variations.
Yeah, I mean, just started kind of going through things.
Okay.
My wife got to taste about a third of them because about 2/3 of them got dumped down the drain because they weren't very good.
I was about to say, what's the worst thing you've tried to blend or create?
Watermelon.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You think watermelon would be good? In,
Yes.
distilling.
Yeah.
you would think.
But that's not the fact.
That is not what happened.
Okay.
It smelled like matches. It pulled some sort of sulfur note out of it, and I'm like a super smeller of sulfur anyway.
Super smeller.
Like, which is not ideal.
Do you get like dubbed that title? How is that?
I
How do you get the super
That's
smeller
got a
of
sash
sulfur?
under the
A
house.
sash.
I can smell
I can
sulfur
smell
out of
sulfur.
anything. Yeah, and
Out of
like,
watermelon.
But like I don't know what it was, but it was
the same with
putrid.
satsumas. Like
Really?
we love satsumas. We like when they're in season, we eat them like crazy.
And everybody's got a plethora
got-
of them. They have
yeah.
no idea what to do with them.
And we have not figured out how to turn that into a quality spirit yet.
Yep.
But we're working on it, and we're gonna get it. Like this year, we're gonna go a different route. We've already talked about it, and I think our plan for this year is gonna be good. Same with kumquats. Kumquats. Last year, we had a kumquat liqueur, and I loved it. And again, where I'm going back to, I have to love it. Thomas has to love it, and Dean, our distiller, has to love it too. And I loved it, but I loved it because I really,
You like
really
the
wanted
idea.
to love
You
it.
wanted to
I
love
wanted
it.
to
You
love
wanted
it.
to love a
But
kumquat
Thomas
liqueur.
Thomas told me, he sat me down and was like, Drew, it's not great.
You're
And I was
wrong,
like,
Drew.
Yeah, he did. And so, like, you need that, man. Like,
Yeah.
people that don't have somebody that can sit them down and tell them, hey, look, you're wrong. Like, that's not.
How old are you, Drew?
I'm 39.
Okay, so I've been telling Drew he's wrong for 39 years.
39 years, yeah.
So, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was 4 when he was born. And
So then, can y'all distill a brandy, or is that a different process?
We can. I doubt that we ever will, though.
Why?
Well, so a couple of things. I've got to draw a line at some point on things we're gonna make.
That's
Like I don't think we're ever gonna make an agave-based spirit.
right.
Sorry, I know that I'm breaking that to you right now.
No. We've talked about this. Now, like, the door is not slammed shut there because we
Right.
still
There's a crack in
we
there. There's a
still
crack
may
in the
bring
door.
some tequila in and age it here.
So I take it you
That's
like.
the
I take it
door-
you like
that's the
tequila.
door. I really want tequila on the tasting side of this bar. Like, it would be,
It's not gonna happen.
yeah, not anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's- yeah.
But we'll get there.
But
we'll get there. We'll
I think
got to work on it.
if you, it's hard to grow good, and I don't want to dog people, but
Right.
good quality French grape varietals don't grow in Louisiana.
Okay.
They're finicky. They don't like humidity.
Well, that's not going to work here.
Yeah,
That's not
they're gone.
They're out. They're out.
Yeah.
Unless you grow them in a greenhouse, that's
Right.
not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pinot Noir, Ugni Blanc, Colombard, the things that like you think of to make cognac from, for example, those grapes just aren't going to grow here.
I guess that makes sense. We
And-
don't have the right climate for it, and
Yeah.
that's growing.
Muscadines grow here.
They do, and I've got a
Um,
friend who lives by my parents out in Sunshine, Louisiana, that makes some great muscadine wine from out of here. I've
Yeah.
never had it, but
And-
I've heard it's great.
We if we make a brandy, it's going to be a muscadine brandy.
Okay.
Just to keep it local. But in all the research we did beforehand, oranges and citrus. I mean, you were talking a second ago about your kumquat brandy.
It's very simple.
Citrus,
Well, no, it's not. It's not very simple.
citrus and brandy go together the best, I think. If you think about the really good orange liqueurs that are out there, I mean, it's Grand Marnier. That's based on cognac. And so I think that is something that over time just really kind of met. I don't think we're ever going to make brandy here unless we make a muscadine brandy. Maybe an apple brandy. That's on the down low.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see, yeah.
But
Is it the same as the tequila? The door's not quite slammed.
no, the door's much more open on
the
apple
door,
brandy.
The door's wide open on that one. The,
Okay,
the
okay.
apple thing is a lot more wide open than the tequila thing.
Yeah, there's a 95% chance we'll make an apple brandy at
Yeah.
some point.
Ooh.
There's
That could be
less than a
interesting.
5%.
Yeah, we have the garage door in the back open on that apple
Yeah.
brandy. Yeah.
Ooh.
But because we both really love apple
Oh, I
brandy.
love apple brandy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a great brandy. So we're very transparent about, like I said at the very beginning, we try to make as much of our stuff here as we can, from local products as we can. But if something's not available here, we're gonna go and source it where it's best.
Makes sense.
So so our orange liqueur, for example, was
Florida.
Well, so no, the oranges are from here.
Okay.
The oranges are from Napoleonville.
Yeah.
But the brandy, it's based on brandy, so the brandy was a California brandy.
Gotcha.
So we went to a distillery in California and got 2-year-old brandy from them.
Yeah, and it makes sense. You're not trying to necessarily force something that's not going to work from here just for the fact of saying it's from here.
Absolutely.
Right.
You want to create a good product. If you can use all local resources and all local supplies, fantastic. But if
Right.
not, by all means, you're going to make sure it's a quality product first.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes we're pairing local products with a product from outside of the local area because it works better.
Right.
And that's what we did with the orange liqueur, which Thomas is talking about. I mean, that's the best example of that. I mean, just because brandy works so well with those oranges.
And
when
I get the kumquat going, because I really love a kumquat brandy
I
liqueur.
love kumquat, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Like
it's pretty good on some Bluebell ice cream.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so disappointed in the one that we made this year.
Yeah,
But the
I wanted it to be good, but it just
I think we'll probably do a kumquat brandy liqueur. We'll probably do we'll always have an orange brandy liqueur. And I think we'll probably do some other citrusy brandy stuff. I think that's probably, we may do a chocolate brandy liqueur. We're working with some people on that. But I don't think we're going to do a whole lot of other things with brandy. I think if we do a muscadine brandy, it'll be kind of small batch that
You can control it and not
I mean,
get too crazy.
We'll do
with
a couple. We might do a barrel a year, a couple barrels a year.
Yeah, and by the way, I haven't called Guinness on this yet, but I think we're going to set the record for most products being released by a distillery in their first year, because I mean
What are y'all at right now?
Jeez, I can't even think. Like we've got 5 different rums, we've got 4 different liqueurs, 5 different liqueurs really, because one has been sold out already.
Yep. 5 batches
We're on
of
batch
brandy.
5 of our
bourbon. Yeah.
and we've got a corn whiskey, and we're actually 6 because we did the special release of
Well,
SR1.
7 if you want to talk about Be Sober's
Be
pick.
Sober's pick.
Yeah.
So I mean we're just
They're adding up.
I mean we just we're forgetting stuff that we've produced this year, and we're in year 1.
Yeah.
And
So
our experimental stack right now is stupid. And there's so many good things that we're going to be dropping here in just a minute. We are on the precipice of probably 10. Thomas, I'm not.
No, that's probably true.
That's probably right.
That's
right?
probably pretty close.
10 new items coming out.
For
Wow.
2021, I think
Yeah.
we'll have another 10.
Yeah. And that's just we're going to repeat. We're definitely repeating strawberry. We're definitely repeating orange. We're definitely
Kumquat.
repeating peach. We're going to have a kumquat. So the list of stuff that we're going to have available is just going to be.
So, I think Drew and I both probably have ADD to a degree.
A little bit. Yeah.
Let's squirrel. No.
And-
Wait, what?
and-
Inside?
And plus, it's another thing. Me
so-
being behind the bar back here, I can
Yeah.
only use spirits that we make in house.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's all these drinks that I want to make and all these things I want to do, and I can't because I'm missing this or that or this.
Yeah.
And
You're essentially creating your own bar.
right.
Right.
So you
It's-
can have all these different drinks, these different varieties, which is genius, you know. And it's also, you know, risky.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
But that's
One
okay.
man's genius is another man's
Yeah,
madman.
yeah. Some people say the true definition of genius is insanity.
Right.
Well,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's all good.
The difference between being crazy and eccentric is, you know,
how much money you
how
make
much
out of
money-
it?
How much money you make.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, I love that. So y'all are doing a lot. There's a lot happening here. Oh, I'm sure over the course of less than a year, y'all have kind of gathered some lessons along the
Sure.
way. What are, you know, maybe 1, 2, 3 lessons that y'all have gathered and harnessed over the course of making what Guinness might call the most spirits from a distillery?
Well, I think one lesson that's really easy to tell you, don't launch a new spirit brand when a national pandemic happens.
That's a good lesson.
Yeah,
that's a good
that's-
lesson. I don't know how much we'll be able to repeat that
Yeah,
lesson.
like, I hope we never
but I hope,
repeat
I
that
hope
lesson.
we never repeat. I hope that's the
Yeah.
only time we ever have to hear that lesson is, hey,
so-
during a global, not national, global pandemic,
Global pandemic, yes.
don't release new spirits.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, they say vision is 2020, but, like, 2020
Is it really
such a such a bad word nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
By the way, I've had that joke in my pocket for, like,
yeah, he's been
weeks,
working on
like,
that.
just sitting there, like,
All right, we'll make sure we clip that out.
clip that out.
Just that section.
Vision 2020.
So, you know, I think a couple other lessons we've learned.
Rule number 1: give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Like we've
That's actually
we
exactly what I was
listen.
gonna say.
Yeah, we listen to a lot of different people, and one of the big things is just because we're not a big fan of something doesn't mean we're not going to do it. Like
Right.
we've got stuff that we've got in the works that we're not huge fans of, but at the same time we're going to do an awesome representation of that. And even though the best representation of that is our corn whiskey. Literally, not like when I say not my favorite style of whiskey, like if there was such a thing as whiskey that I don't drink, that would be it. It's a corn whiskey, unaged, not great. But Thomas, I'm gonna go ahead and say this.
Okay.
Our distiller Dean, he hit a home run with that. We tasted it off the line, and like at proof coming off the line, we were like, holy cow, like this is not supposed to be this good. Like, and we already had plans for different stuff with it, and we pivoted, did something else, and then of course right after that we pivoted again with the naming and
One
that's
thing
a,
one
that's
thing
a
led to
different
another.
story. Yeah.
Okay, so don't start a new product line during COVID,
Right.
or a global pandemic for that matter, and always
Listen to your people.
listen. Yes, thank
Give
you.
the
Listen to your
people what they
customer.
Give
want.
the people
and-
what they want, because at the end of the day, they pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess the other
Yeah.
lesson I've learned is, this is a business. I mean, I love passion projects, and this is kind of a passion project.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a business too.
The best businesses are the passion projects that turn a profit.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if I love things that people have passion about. Like I don't care what it is. If
Yeah.
you have passion about beef jerky, I'm gonna appreciate your beef jerky more.
Right.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely.
And
Which, if you have a beef jerky in Louisiana, hit me up.
yeah, me too. But it's like
Let me write that down.
like people that people that
Next
like
business
are in
opportunity?
beer and they just love beer and they're producing and they're doing great stuff with it and they're doing
Right.
unique stuff with it.
Yeah.
I love that. And like when you come here, that's what we give you. We don't tell you. If I had an email today, somebody was asked about our vodka, and like I think she was expecting a 1-sentence answer, and I sent her like a paragraph of like, hey, come on by. I'll show you like I'll open up, show you exactly how we make it, exactly the whole process, and that's the kind of stuff that makes a difference between when you're at the store and you're looking at bottles and you see our bottle and then you see the one next to it that's I don't know who sits next to us,
Competitor
but
X.
Competitor X.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
You know, they're just pumping out vodka, you know, and
Right, and it goes back to what I like to see is a brand connection. I like to have a connection to a brand in some form of fashion. And that may just be me, but I'm sure I'm not the only one I'm not alone in that. You know, it's having to know who the people are behind the product to me is so important. If it's a great product and there's nobody behind it necessarily, maybe I'll try it. You know, but if it's a great product and I know the people behind it, I know what they stand for, I know what they support, I know what they're after, I know what they're about, I'm going to support them 10 times out of 10.
Right.
You know, and I'm all about these people that are here to create something that's beautiful, that's wonderful, that's truly giving the people what they want. And I'm going to pick that over somebody who's just pumping out 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 of these because it's what sells.
right.
You know, and I'm probably not alone. I'm probably in the minority there, though. But I think that's starting to become more and more, especially during COVID, especially during a global pandemic. People are realizing, okay, I need to see what's going on in my local community, in my local economy, because when I put money into that and I buy a bottle of Sugarfield Spirits, I buy a bottle of something local, I'm putting that money right back into the economy because y'all are buying local products. You're making your products with local stuff.
Right.
And so we're able to grow our economy as a whole together by keeping that circle of funds going in.
Absolutely.
So one of the questions I like to ask is, which I probably know the answer to this to already, is if you could do something today that you did as a kid, what would it be if no one stopped you?
That's a
Or to
great
rephrase
question.
it, what is something you did as a kid that you would love to do today if no one told you couldn't?
So Thomas and Thomas brings this up a lot, and he talks about his guidance counselor when he was in high school, and how his guidance counselor never told him that being a distiller was an option.
Or
and
a
then
winemaker,
or
or-
winemaker,
We need to have more
he didn't-
conversations
Yeah.
around being a brewery, being around a
That's
distillery. Those
why are
jobs
these-
are available.
Yes.
Yeah, or like
Or make your own.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's let's make this a what am I trying to say?
A career path.
Career path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm getting old, man. 39 years old.
39,
I can't
so
put two
old.
thoughts together.
So
a major in
old.
college.
Major in college. See,
Yeah.
that's we like to
Distilling.
complete each
Distilling.
other's. Thomas, we like to complete each other's
Thoughts?
Spirits?
Yeah.
sandwiches. Is the but, anyway, getting back to your point, yeah, we like to. We're just now getting into this. This is our renaissance of our careers, kind of. Like I went from being in hospitality for 20 years, and I worked in restaurants, bars, hotels, my whole career. I managed people for 15 years straight, and I went from that, and I came over here to this, and this is a whole new ball of wax. This is brand new territory for me, and this is so exciting. Like, I can't tell you how amazing it is when my phone rings, I get excited again. For so many years, every time my phone rang, I wanted to cry. And I'd pick
It was
it
a
up.
fire you had to put out.
Yeah, because it was, I was literally walking into, like, I was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and whatever plans I had ended when my phone rang.
Right.
Now, my plans change for the good when my phone rings. So it's a different way of looking at it. So that's good. And yeah, Thomas, I'm sorry. I know when your phone rings, it's still.
Yeah. When my phone rings, I still have to go into the hospital.
Well, yeah.
When your phone rings, Thomas, there's usually a baby that's in
Right,
distress,
yeah,
and
yeah.
nobody wants that to
Right,
happen.
yeah.
So
Right.
So,
They need
yeah.
Thomas.
yeah.
So
we don't
yeah.
ever want your phone to ring.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm still practicing as a newborn doctor, so, and I plan on doing that for a long time. But this is like my creative part. You don't want your doctor to wake up in the morning and get in the shower and go, I'm going to try this today.
I'm going to try to birth the baby this way today.
Yeah, like-
let's try something new.
Let's try something
Try
different.
something different. Like I'm gonna.
I'm gonna dabble with this.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
Let's see if this
that
works.
Sounds like an idea.
Yeah.
So
But here, this is a great creative way because
I don't do that in my medical career.
Right.
But
disclosure,
you know, I think,
he is a very professional
yes,
doctor.
I'm a very professional doctor. But Drew and I both are very creative people, and you know I get to come here and do different things. You know, like Drew was talking about our experiments. So I have like 6 different chocolates that we're working on right now.
They're really
and
good.
you know it's like from
They're
6
killer.
different countries, and you know I'm
You never think that chocolate would be different.
Yeah.
Right? You know what chocolate tastes like?
But yeah,
No,
so I
there's
don't eat dark chocolate.
Different variety. Oh, it's
Like-
crazy.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, Ecuador is better than Uganda, but Uganda's really good. I like Uganda better than Haiti, but
The Dominicans.
the Dominican's
killer.
really good. I mean, it's the other side
Oh,
of the
Jesus.
island. Like,
And so in that topic you brought up is something that we could do a whole podcast on, of having a passion project that's profitable while also maintaining a full-time career. You know, people think you have to have one or the other. You have to either be all in on your entrepreneurial adventure, or you have to be all in on your 9 to 5, or for you it's 24/7. But having that option of having a creative outlet and having that option for your professional outlet is so powerful to people who maybe think that they're in their professional career and they can't have that creative outlet. You know, they think, oh, well, I've got to be fully devoted to my job, you know, whenever I can. But having that option of saying, no, you can be creative. You can go out and found a distillery and distill whatever spirits you choose 120 recipes later. Mm-hmm. And you can still be very successful at your professional career. You know, I do that within my own life.
I was going to say, is this a...
It's a segment. It's self-realization, but it's also a promotion for other people to not hang up the phone of entrepreneurship just because they're in a 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
Just because you're in a professional career and you're doing very well for yourself, don't just shy away from saying, hey, I have this entrepreneurship tendency that I want to create X, Y, and Z. I want to create model planes for little kids, whatever it is. You know, for me, it's podcasting, but during the day, I'm an accountant. You know,
right.
And it's, while some people may see that it's very different, it's that creative outlet.
Absolutely.
That gives me that rush. You know,
Yeah.
I can sit all day and plug numbers and do a very, very good job at it. But at the same time, when I come afterwards and I sit in the distillery and we talk to people and we talk to the founders and learn about their backstory, learn about how they got started, to me, that's like, it's exciting. And so it pushes you more in your 9 to 5 to say, okay, I'm here to do this, to pay the bills that's necessary, whatever. Then this passion project I go to is amazing, and you can't wait to get there. But some people may just stop and say, I don't have time for it. You know, I don't have time to go and do calligraphy like I want to because I work at an engineering firm or whatever it may be.
So let me challenge you.
Okay.
Because there's 168 hours in a week.
It's good math.
Yeah. And I would say that, you know, even if you're working, let's say you work 60 hours at your theoretical engineering job.
Right. That's on the high end.
Yeah.
Right.
Normally it's 40, but we'll give him 20.
We'll give
him 20.
him 60.
Yeah.
You still got 108 hours in a week.
Right.
Now you got to sleep some.
Not 8 hours. They say 8. Doctors say 8 hours a day. I think you can live off 5.
It depends on the
Doctors
person.
say.
Yeah.
Not baby doctors, but some doctors say that you should sleep 8 hours a night.
I've lived off 5.
Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. You make it work.
I mean, I've been up since 3. So, I mean,
Yeah, don't ever try to out.
I won't.
undersleep this guy, man.
yeah,
He's
like,
like,
but you know, I mean, I think that there's more time in your life than you think,
Yes.
and you can always do something. Like if you have that itch to be creative, and maybe be an entrepreneur, go for it. Like this, I think right now is the perfect time to jump into something.
Especially during, yes.
Like,
Right.
I mean, because I think in 4 to 6 months, our country is going to be coming out of the worst 2-year period in 100. Well, not 100 years, because I'd say World War II was worse than this. But you know, I mean, the worst period.
People alive have experienced.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, most people alive have ever experienced. I mean, this, and I think March, April, May, as the vaccine comes out, as we're able to start kind of getting out of this funk that we're in, like that's gonna be the perfect time to start a business, to start to do something creative, you know, to get out there and do something, and just jump on this local. I think our country's really gonna focus more on ourselves, focus more on our local economies.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, which is amazing. This is a great opportunity for somebody to launch a small business.
Yeah, and it's even if you're not launching it right now, you're planning.
Yeah.
And you're building that. You don't necessarily have to build a business plan in the normal sense of the word, but build something and actually plan something and put your thoughts down and kind of project, okay, if I do X, Y, Z, how's it going to turn out? And then just start executing. You know, it's not going to be all rosy and nice and shiny every single day. But being consistent over time and doing the monotonous will turn a result.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not
I
pretty doing
think
everything.
if you're not terrified, you're not pushing it hard enough.
Oh, for sure.
Because we terrified is how I would say it. Like we have been, it's.
But you know
that is small business.
And again,
it's small business. It's entrepreneurship. If you're not terrified of waking up the next day and everything going horribly wrong, then you're not being an entrepreneur.
Right.
You're being somebody with a passion project, and by no means is a passion project wrong. It's a good start. But if you're like, no, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm gonna dive off the deep end. Well, if you're not scared out of your pants,
right,
when you wake up in the morning that everything's gonna go wrong and blow up, I challenge you to innerly reflect: are you really an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Well put.
Yeah.
So on that note,
so one of my friends has this chicken and pig analogy.
Okay.
So,
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so if a chicken and a pig are making breakfast, the chicken's involved.
Okay.
The pig's committed. So
you got
if you're having bacon and eggs,
all right.
like
I see where you're going now.
Like,
yes,
the chicken's just involved.
Yeah.
The pig's all in.
The chicken's going to continue
to
make this breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, he's not giving up himself. Now, if you start talking about a gumbo, well, then the chicken's all in.
The chicken might be all in.
Right.
But the pig's all in.
Yeah,
but the pig's already all in.
The pig's all in all the time.
Okay.
I mean, because every good recipe starts with bacon.
If it doesn't, or butter.
Or you know, bell pepper and onion and garlic.
I don't think that works in the analogy.
But anyways, anyway,
the pig's all in.
Yeah, the pig's all in and
the
bacon and eggs, and the chicken's committed.
Right.
And you know, I mean, I think that you can look at that in a lot of ways. You know, are you a chicken? Or are you a pig?
Right.
Like,
and
I'm a pig. Like, I'm all in. So,
right. And neither one.
Drew's a pig. I mean, he's all in here.
Well, he was bacon when we got here.
Yeah.
But for those people that want to maybe want to get their feet wet, it's okay to start out as the chicken.
Absolutely.
You don't always have to jump in as the pig. A lot of people may, but for the majority of people, to make this more of an inviting experience in the entrepreneurial world, you can still be a chicken and still do some great things. But it is hard to say there will come a point in time where you have to be a pig.
Right.
Yeah.
You can plan all day long until you actually take action.
Yes. You can plan all day long. You can be a chicken all day long and provide and limp along here and there. But at the end of the day, it could be a decade. It could be tomorrow. There will come a point in time where to be a true entrepreneur, you have to be that pig. Right. You have to give it all in. You have to. If you're not scared when you're going into it, or you're not there yet, you're still a chicken. You're still a chicken at that point. And you're not saying you're chicken, you're scared.
Right.
But
you're a little bit.
All right, maybe a little bit. Maybe we are.
You know, we talk about this all the time, but you know, it's just you know, the first 18 months of this, we were, you know, writing plans and we hadn't really committed to anything.
Yeah. Paper.
Yeah. Like paper stuff. I mean, it was just my time.
You know.
Like, I mean, I'd spent a lot of time on it.
Right.
But
yeah, you can plan all day long.
At some point, you got to jump.
Thomas, you want to do the Mike Tyson quote?
Yeah. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite quotes.
Get real close to the mic and tell us.
Mike Tyson said, who's a great philosopher. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
That's a fact.
That's a
That's
fact.
it.
That's a
like,
fact.
I mean, like, you know, we jumped in about probably 18 months ago,
Yep.
and 9 months ago we got punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And that's what coronavirus was. You know, that was our, like, like, it was.
It hurt.
Coronavirus is going to make a lot of chickens pigs and a lot of pigs chickens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
A lot of people are going to go to doing something part-time if they haven't already,
Yep.
which they're probably just funding to keep everything going, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But some people may, go away from the chicken and just become the chef.
Yeah.
And they may no longer be involved at all, and they're just making it happen.
Yeah.
I'm an eternal optimist. You know, I don't take care of 10-ounce babies when they're born and not be an optimist.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I think I can. I think really happy thoughts about every little baby I'm taking care of.
You and me are the same. You and me are
Yeah.
the same.
And you know, I really do think that at the end of this, you know, our country's going to end up stronger for it.
Right.
You know, with all the stress, all the conflict that we've had, you know, that's where you grow as a country. That's where you grow as a person.
Absolutely.
And I think that is what our country, at the end of all of this, as we come out of it in, you know, I'd like to say 6 months, 9 months,
whenever
a
it
year,
may be.
whenever we come out of this, there is a light on the other side of the tunnel.
Yeah.
It's not a train, and we're going to end up being a much stronger country and a much stronger people because of this.
100%.
So,
I'm with you all the
like-
way. So to
That got really philosophical.
I know
there.
we got really
Like,
philosophical.
yeah.
I'm looking down, I'm
Like,
like, all right, we're gonna
wow,
end this.
yeah.
soon. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
well, 20 minutes later,
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah.
But it was great. I loved it. So, one of the final questions is, what do y'all love most about Louisiana?
That's an easy question.
All
The
right.
people, man. The people around here are amazing, fantastic. They love to party. They love to have a good time. I mean, we're in the business of drinks, so they love drinking. So we love that about them. But ultimately, it's they never quit being optimistic. They're always just 100% in. I mean, how many hurricanes do we have this year?
I think this is gonna be our fifth.
Fifth
Fifth
hurricane.
landfall.
I mean,
Yeah.
Lake Charles got hit like back to back, like
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row. And you go down there, and the people are rebuilding their houses. They're just
Yeah.
nobody's moving away. They're just like, this is just how it is. We're gonna have a good time while we're here and make the best of it. And to me, that's amazing. What I love about this particular area is what we always look. Me and my wife, whenever we travel, we look for what are the people doing. Is it easy to get around in? Are there local things available? And this area checks off all of those checks. We love it. The city has a soul, and I mean, I've lived in places before that just was, just soulless, and that's the worst. Like, you have a city that, nobody wants to live there. You're there for a short period of time. You're just in and out. You know it as soon as you move in. That's not the vibe around here. The vibe around here is, come on in. Like,
Stay a while.
we're gonna be here for a minute. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, I mean, both of us are not from here originally. We're both from. We grew up in South Carolina. I haven't lived in South Carolina though in 20-something years, 26
Yeah,
years.
we're both vagabonds. We moved
yeah.
around, and man, our sister's moving here. She's even more of a vagabond than we are.
Yeah. But I think that this is one of the most welcoming cultures that there is. I've lived in places where, where'd you go to college? Where do your kids go to school? And if you're not in the cool group, some places are really cliquey.
Yeah.
This
sure.
is not that kind of culture. This is a very open, welcoming culture. As long as you're welcoming and opening yourself. And I think that's the thing I love most about Louisiana. And then just the cool, like, people here love flavors and love food and love, like, just yumminess.
Yeah.
There-
We're proud of what we eat and what we put
Yeah.
into our bodies.
Yeah.
And this state loves its steak. We grew up in South Carolina. South Carolina loves its steak. Texas loves its steak. But I think those are the 3 states that love their steak the most.
Yeah.
And I think you love it for everything that it is. You love it for its culture. You love it for its food. You love it for its its warts, because there's certainly warts on any place.
Right.
But I think everybody just kind of embraces everything. Let's learn from the past. Let's learn from everything. And I think that's what we love about Louisiana.
I love all of that about Louisiana. I see it, and the guests I've had on, this is 56 episodes into it, and the responses to that question or variation of that question has always been the people. And
Right.
the people make up this great state. They make up the great city of Baton Rouge, where I'm from, and it's powerful to see that people always pull for people, and I love that. So to end the show, one final question for y'all is, what can I do to help you?
Drink.
Yeah.
Drink a lot.
It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very
Yeah.
challenging.
And for everybody out there, just enjoy our stuff. It's a taste of Louisiana. It really is. We want it to be the essence of what Louisiana.
That's
is.
not the tagline. It should be the taste
That
of
should
Louisiana.
be,
Yeah.
Taste of Louisiana.
Get with
Oh,
marketing.
Yeah,
Get with
okay.
marketing on that.
Marketing.
Boom, marketing. Taste of Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Drew and
and
Thomas.
drink local.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing that I think this whole coronavirus thing, just drink your local stuff and love your local people and like I said, I'm an optimist. We're gonna get through all this.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I love that.
See
Wow.
you another day.
I'll do my part and
Okay.
drink as much as I can.
Well,
Thank you,
cheers.
Pat.
I'm only one person though, so
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
But so thank you, Drew and Thomas, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. This is the second time we've done something with y'all, and every time it's great. Anytime
Awesome.
with booze, and Louisiana booze is always a good time.
Yep, absolutely.
So thank y'all for coming on, and thank y'all everybody for watching or listening to the show. I really
Thank you, guys.
appreciate it. Make sure you
Thank
check
you,
out
guys.
Sugarfield Spirits. Make sure you check out the Patty G Show. Obviously, if you're listening or hearing this, you're already aware of us. But make sure you're subscribed. Click that little bell button so you can get notifications when we go live on site or at the studio. And I am Patty G, your host here with Drew and Thomas. And y'all have a good night. Thank y'all.
Cheers.
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complicate ya.